Welcome back, fight fans. Things are heating up as Canelo Alvarez prepares to step into the ring once again. This time, he faces William Scull, an undefeated Cuban challenger looking to make a name for himself against one of the sport's all-time greats. But let's be honest, does Scull actually stand a chance? Or is this just another routine victory for the Mexican superstar? On May 3rd, at the ANB Arena, the WBA Super Championship and the WBC, WBO, and IBF titles will all be on the line. It's a fight that could solidify Canelo as a two-time undisputed champion at 168 pounds. But with fans already questioning the legitimacy of this matchup, is it truly a step forward in boxing history, or just a glorified title defense? Canelo, a living legend with 62 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, and 39 knockouts, is no stranger to championship fights. He's fought the best, beaten the best, and built an empire through a combination of skill, power, and ring IQ that few can match. This fight is more about than belts for him. It's about reminding everyone why he's still the king of the super middleweight division. On the other side, William L. Indomitable Scull enters the fight with an unblemished 23-0 record, though with only 9 knockouts to his name. He's got technical skills, he's methodical, and he's hungry. But is he ready for the absolute monster that is Canelo Alvarez? Many doubt it, and some are outright dismissing this as an easy payday for Alvarez. But Scull sees this as his one shot at greatness, to dethrone the undisputed champion and shake up the sport in a way few have ever done. This fight is more than just another title defense. It's a clash of two very different boxing philosophies. Canelo, with his years of experience, thrives in high-pressure fights, using his insane counterpunching ability, head movement, and ring control to dismantle opponents. He's a tactician, adapting on the fly and punishing mistakes like no other. Scull, on the other hand, relies on calculated movement, keeping opponents at bay with a precise jab and a disciplined defensive style. He's not a knockout artist, but he is a strategist. His goal? Frustrate Canelo, keep him at a distance, and slowly rack up points. The problem? That's exactly what Caleb Plant and Billy Joe Saunders tried to do, and we all know how that ended. Canelo's last few fights haven't exactly won over the hardcore boxing fan base. His choices to fight Jaime Munguia and Edgar Berlanga were met with criticism, with many accusing him of dodging tougher competition. But this fight, this one actually makes sense. It's a unification bout, and you can't pick and choose who holds the belts. If Canelo wants to be undisputed again, he has to go through Scull. It's that simple. And let's not forget the bigger picture. A win here doesn't just add another belt to his collection. It hypes up the upcoming and one of the biggest fights in modern boxing history. Canelo versus Terence Crawford. If Crawford somehow pulls off a win against Canelo, he'd become the first fighter in the modern era to be a 3-time undisputed champion across multiple weight classes. The stakes couldn't be higher. Ever since his 2013 loss to Floyd Mayweather, Canelo has transformed into a different kind of fighter. Gone are the days of wild aggression. Now, he's calculated, patient, and surgical in his approach. He picks his shots, systematically breaks down his opponents, and forces them into uncomfortable situations where they have no choice but to make mistakes. His defense is elite. He doesn't just block punches, he rolls with them, slips them, and counters with precision. Fighters struggle to land clean shots on him, and when they overcommit, Canelo makes them pay. He's a master at cutting off the ring, forcing opponents into corners where his power punches do the most damage. William Scull isn't a household name. That doesn't mean he's a pushover. He's technically sound, disciplined, and has the stamina to go the distance. But here's the problem. He's never faced anyone remotely close to Canelo's level. His record, while impressive on paper, lacks the kind of high-caliber opposition that prepares a fighter for a night like May 3rd. That being said, there's always an element of unpredictability with undefeated fighters. They don't know how to lose, which can sometimes make them dangerous. Skull's best shot at victory: avoid getting into exchanges, use his movement to frustrate Canelo, and hope to steal rounds by staying active. But let's be real, against a seasoned champion like Canelo, That's a tall order. This fight isn't just about belts, it's about legacy. If Canelo wins, he reaffirms his place as the top dog at 168 pounds and sets up blockbuster fights for the future. If Scull pulls off the upset, we could be looking at one of the biggest shakeups in boxing history. And let's not forget the political side of things. The IBF title situation has been a mess, with Canelo essentially being forced into this fight to regain a belt he never lost in the ring. The fact that the fight is taking place in Saudi Arabia adds another layer of intrigue, as boxing's biggest stars continue to cash in on massive paydays in the Middle East. Unless Scull has some hidden weapon in his arsenal, this fight is Canelo's to lose. Expect the Mexican superstar to take a few rounds to figure out Skull's rhythm, then slowly start breaking him down. Body shots will be a huge factor. Canelo is known for his devastating bodywork, and against a fighter who relies on movement, that's the perfect way to slow him down. If Scull can survive the early rounds and avoid big shots, he might be able to force this fight into the later rounds. But can he outbox Canelo for 12 rounds? Highly unlikely. The most realistic scenario: a late stoppage by Canelo around rounds 8 through 10. Or a dominant decision win where he simply overwhelms Scull with pressure and precision. No matter how you feel about this matchup, it's an important fight for the division. Canelo is doing what champions are supposed to do, unifying titles and taking on mandatory challengers. It might not be the super fight fans were hoping for, but it's a necessary step towards something even bigger. Meanwhile, on the undercard, we've got a rematch. Jaime Munguia versus Bruno Suarez, round 2. Their first fight, Suarez pulled off a jaw-dropping knockout, bagging upset of the year in the process. Munguia started off measured, but things got spicy after a late clinch in the first round. Clearly not a fan of personal space, Munguia came out swinging in the second and sent Suarez crashing down with a brutal left hook. But Suarez, he's built different. He popped right back up and started throwing hands like nothing happened. Suarez had his moments, slipping in crisp combos off the ropes, but let's be real. Munguia's raw power and size made it feel like only a matter of time before things went south. Suarez spent most of the fight in survival mode, absorbing full force shots from every direction. And then, bam! In the 7th round, Suarez uncorked a right hand from the depths of the underworld, and Munguia hit the canvas like a felled tree. He tried to get up, but his legs were doing the Macarena, and the ref had no choice but to wave it off. This win? Massive. Suarez, a natural middleweight, hadn't fought a 10-rounder since 2021 and wasn't exactly known for knockouts. Now, he's officially on the map. As for Munguia, yikes. This was a career-derailing disaster. He was there for a huge eliminator against Christian Billy, or at worst, waiting in the wings for Canelo to finally call it quits. But that infamous lack of defense, it finally caught up with him in the worst way possible. But let's not forget, Canelo's already got a showdown locked in with Terrence Crawford this September, and honestly, that fight is a perfect addition to both of their resumes. Sure, in a perfect world, we would have seen this clash a few years earlier when both were closer to their peaks. But hey, at least we're getting it now. Better late than never, right? So, what do you think? Is Scull just another name on Canelo's hit list, or could he actually shock the world? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, fight fans,